This took way too long to make. God, at least we're finally starting it. Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be bringing you with a benchmark of the GTX 1070 with the combo of the Intel Core i5 6600K overclocked to 4.3 GHz. The games are going to be GTA 5, Overwatch, Ark, and Battlefield 1. Now let's get into it, shall we? Alright, so a lot of the games are really well optimized and truly can show the GTX 1070's true horsepower without a doubt. I mean, Ark has an exception, but you'll see that later. And with that being said, let's get right into the benchmarks. First, we're starting off here with Battlefield 1, a very well optimized and evenly CPU based game. The graphics are outstanding. It's so good that it's making my voice trip on this game. The graphics look insanely well. Here we are on the game mode Conquest in Battlefield 1. The game just looks so good to the eye that it makes real life look bad, and that's something good to say about it. The gameplay is completely doable at 4K right now with the average FPS of 40. An area where I personally find smooth and not too choppy to quote unplayable. As you can see here, our minimum frame rate was 19. It was the lowest it dropped, and that's something I would quote as unplayable because of the stutter that would present at the time, which might mess you up when shooting or trying to escape from someone. Although our maximum sees a 51 where everything is pretty smooth, but take the maximum and minimum with a grain of salt because it's mainly the average where we're looking for. I'd say Battlefield 1 at 4K resolution is playable, with maybe some settings turned down, just by like one little change, just to maintain the 60. Remember, this was with every single setting on Battlefield 1 cranked to its most, so turning down a few things won't really change the visual looks of everything, and everything will still look good because you're running at 4K. Now we're testing the same game, Battlefield 1, but at 1440p now. This is the area where I believe the GTX 1070 truly shines its most muscles, just showing off to everyone in the benchmark. Maintaining a constant 60 most of the time as the average of the gameplay is super smooth, while still looking crispy as hell. Now I'd like to say before the max and mins, take with a grain of salt. Because the average shows that it's completely playable. I honestly don't know where the minimum one came from, but take that with a grain of salt. The averages are insanely smooth. You're maintaining a constant 60 pretty much, and it just feels great. Honestly, there's no stuttering when I was testing at the time that I truly felt. Everything was just smooth. It rarely ever dropped to a point where I felt choppiness even during explosions, so it just felt great. Now we're here with my personal favorite title, Overwatch. A game that doesn't really look outstanding like Battlefield, but still looks great and has a fun feel to it. First, I'm going to be showing you the game at 4K resolution. The GTX 1070 just tanks this game, as this game is super easy to run with everything cranked to its highest. Although any form of anti-aliasing was set to medium because it isn't really needed at 4K resolution anyway. As you can see here, the game is just godly smooth at 4K, with our minimums only hitting at 50 FPS and our maximums at 75. It's just amazing. Our averages were about 60, meaning it will maintain that smoothness most of the game, and the time when you'll feel that drop of 50 is when many ultimates are going down around the same time. In the end, it's super playable and looks great. I personally play at 4K all the time. Now we're at Overwatch at 1440p, 2K. This is an area where I put myself when I'm streaming or recording because I have to make sure that I have 60 no matter what when I'm gaming. Going under 60 really just annoys me. And for other people to have 60 no matter what, this is usually what they'll put it to if they don't get a constant 60 above their resolution. The resolution scale was auto set to 130% at the test, showing that the GTX 1070 has room and it's stretching its legs. But with the minimum FPS at 59, you won't ever feel a stutter in the game. And at the maximums at 105, you're ensuring a smooth gaming experience no matter what. The averages were 75 FPS. This is insanely smooth and you'll never feel a drop. This is good for some people who have screens above 60 Hz because some screens can allow more than 60, so you'll see more of that FPS. It might help others in the end, but personally, I like the 4K better. But hands down, you'll run your Overwatch nice and crispy and you'll be gloating to your console friends and you're gonna make them want to switch. Now we're coming in with another amazing looking title and a very more popular based one, Grand Theft Auto 5. This game has been out for a while, but the graphics are no joke. With the GTX 1070, GTA at 4K was a godly experience. The detail on the road, the grass, just everywhere was amazing. I tested GTA in the intro mission with Franklin and Lamar because it's the same every time you do it. It doesn't change. As you can see here, the average FPS wasn't too bad. A 42 FPS. It's an area where it's above console's crappy 30 FPS, but still under 60. It's an area where it's kind of smooth, but at times you can also feel the stuttering. So it's alright. Our minimum shows that it's just not ready for 4K though. With GTA 5 hitting 19 FPS as our minimum, that's just not a good experience because that means it's dropped to 19 at least once, and that must have been a huge spike going from 42. That's just something I would call unplayable. Although our maximums say otherwise with an insane 188, I must have been looking at the sky, but that felt great. In the end, it's an alright experience, but is it worth the quality over performance? That I'll leave up to you. Now we're coming at GTA 5 but at 1440p. This is an area where the GTX 1070 shines, and this is where it will in most of the benchmarks. Overwatch has an exception, but in most games, 1440p is just the golden sweet spot for the GTX 1070. The minimum frame rate was only 60 and the average was 87 FPS. That's a frame rate where it makes the gameplay completely playable and it just feels godly. Our maximums were a whopping 270 FPS. That's something the consoles came up fight against. GTA at 1440p is just the golden sweet spot. It's sharp, crisp, and smooth. It's just the perfect experience. If you have the GTX 1070 and a 1440p screen, you're golden. You're set and good to go. Jesus Christ, do I even need to do this? Honestly, what the fuck? It's just so bad. Alright, you know what? I'm just gonna wing it. Alright, here you guys are. Ark. A very controversial game. Great gameplay, it's fun, and you could put hours among hours on top of this game, and it's just experience that really hasn't been remade before. You're in a forest, dinosaurs, you can play with friends, and the graphics are quite good and can be quite funny at times. But that is not an excuse for how this game performs. It's just so unoptimized that it makes the GTX 1070 look like a graphics card from almost 2 years ago, 4 years ago. It's not up to par. This game needs to step their game up. Alright, so here we're running at Ark at 1440p. I couldn't even do 4K because it was just so unplayable that it's just not even no point in me even trying to benchmark that. That's how bad it was. Yeah. But to put it in comparison, just in case you guys still want to know, it's a little bit like 5 to 10 FPS under of the 1440p ones, which I'm just about to show right now. But in this test, we're going to be doing 1440p and 1080p benchmarks with Ark. So here we are at Ark Survival Evolved, 1440p at the Epic preset, so everything's maxed out and cranked. And our average was only 23.4 FPS. That's a joke. Coming from a GTX 1070, that's a joke. And her maximum was 33. Don't get me wrong, that 33 I felt and it felt good, but that's just a complete excuse. Don't get me wrong, it's above the console shit, but at least the consoles have some optimization on their side. Although they still get lower FPS than this, it's just bullshit. Our minimums were 16. That's just horrible. It kind of reminds me back when I used to have this old laptop with Intel graphics. That's how bad this was. It's just, the gameplay just looks so damn, like, the game just looks amazing. The graphics are so good. If the game could have been optimized properly, this game definitely could have been on one of my top freaking favorite ones. But there's a reason why I wanted to leave this one for last, and now you guys see it. We're still here with Arc, but now we're doing at 1080p. It's an area where the 1070 is more suited for when it comes to Arc because how poorly optimized this game is. And now before you guys start saying what might have been the problem, it's just the optimization of the game. This game was made very poorly. My Intel Core i5 never went above 30% usage. So that goes to show there really was no bottleneck. And the GTX 1070 was trying. It's just the game was just poorly optimized. So here we are with our averages of 34.4 FPS. This is respectable because 30 FPS in Arc kind of feels like a 40 to 50. It's one of those type of games where a low FPS kind of feels a bit smoother than what it should. But yeah, a mediocre 35 FPS pretty much. It's okay, it's playable. It's nothing bad, but it's nothing good neither. It's far from good. Our maximums were 54. That's okay. It's definitely a lot better than 34, and it's definitely a much better smooth FPS, but that was our maximum, so it didn't stay there for very long. Although our minimums were much more respectable compared to last time, coming at a pretty strong 27 FPS, so going from 34 to 27, there isn't much of a big jump there. It's definitely a lot better than 19 in our previous test, but in the end, Arc, it's a very fun game, and you can get used to how the frame rate is, as long as your ping is pretty good, although most of the servers have pretty shit pings. As long as you can get used to the ping and the frame rate, you almost forget about having 60 in the long run. It feels good no matter what. So in the long end, I'm not saying don't get Arc. It's a very fun game, and you could put hours among hours with it if you're playing with friends. And even without friends, it's still a fun game. But don't expect to be running 60 on this game unless you have a damn Titan X. So that's that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video today of the Intel Core i5 with the GTX 1070 benchmark. It took a little while to make, but I think it was worth it. I'm hoping you guys enjoyed it and it was beneficial to you guys as well, choosing your parts for your PC. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I would like to thank you for watching. Try to share my channel, you know. I want to get big, kind of like the other YouTubers. So like, subscribe, and comment below if you would like to see some other games I could benchmark, because I'll gladly do it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.